Apple's iOS 9 is here, and over 50% of users have already updated to the latest version of the Apple's operating system. What it's about, we've already told you in our detailed review, but did you know that there are some hidden features that could help you unlock the full potential of iOS 9? What are those? Let's find out. First, you can now search in Settings. Simply tap on the Settings icon and go back to the settings until you reach the main menu and tap on this bar right here. You can now type your search rather than looking through a long list of options. And for example, if you're trying to add an account, you simply have this option right here. Secondly, you can now mute Siri by just flipping the mute switch right here, as so. First, you have to go into Settings and make sure that you go to General, Siri, and in the voice feedback option, make sure that it's switched on to Control with Ring switch. Now you can control Siri with the mute switch. For example, what's the world's tallest building?
Checking on that.
And just like that, Siri goes silent. Next, in iOS 9 you have a low power mode. Unfortunately, you cannot quickly access it via the control center, so you have to go into Settings, select the battery option, and toggle the low power mode switch. Now this will limit some visual effects and you won't be able to get email in real time, but otherwise the iPhone will keep on running at a fairly smooth pace. You can now also use the new Spotlight search to quickly call or text someone. Just type their name and you're taken right in the messaging application. In iOS 9 you can also easily hide multiple pictures. You could hide just one picture in iOS 8, and now in iOS 9 it's easy to hide multiple of them. So as you can see, we have an excessive number of selfies here and we just want to hide some of them. So let's just quickly tap the select button, select multiple images, and this one, click on the share button and simply hide them. Hide 7 photos, and as you know, these photos will still appear in your collections but won't appear in the albums menu. In iOS 9 you have maps with transit directions, and that's quite awesome. So let's try and use it, and you will notice that on our route the maps will warn us if a bus is running late. So let's try it with Siri. Give me transit directions from Manhattan to Woodside, Queens. And here you go. The app warns you about multiple incidents on the road. If you're taking the B and D train, have delays, have a reroute on the F train. So that's very neat if you're traveling in a big city to know when you're gonna arrive and what incidents are on the way. Battery life. Isn't that the one thing that we all want improved? Unfortunately, it's not improved in the iPhone 6s, but you get some much improved battery statistics that will help you deal with apps that take a lot of your battery. So just scroll in the settings menu to the battery section and wait for the battery usage. And here you get to see a very nice breakdown of the apps that have used the most of your battery. For instance, in the last 24 hours, we've connected an Apple Watch. So the Apple Watch app took 83% of the battery load. And here's how it breaks down over a 7-day period. And it's a very neat, very useful breakdown. Google has Google Drive, Microsoft has OneDrive, but what about Apple? Now there is a cloud solution, but it doesn't have a standalone app. This changes in iOS 9 as you now have iCloud Drive as a standalone app, but you need to enable it first. Have to go into Settings, iCloud, select the iCloud Drive and enable the iCloud Drive toggle. It will take a bit for the app to sync with your online content, but it will appear on your home screen in a moment. And you can now see it if you scroll to the last screen, that it's right here, and it will take a second to get your documents out in the cloud. Here they are. Health, Apple Health. Some people use it, some people don't. We're kind of in the middle. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. But when we do, you can now see that in iOS 9, Health has gotten a landscape view. Simply switch the phone in landscape view to get a more detailed breakdown of your activity. Neat. Markup has arrived to iOS 9, which means that you can now draw on top of email attachments. So let's quickly try and compose an email without a subject. And attaching a file, if you don't know, on iOS happens by long holding. And let's insert a photo in this message. Let's take some of my little bit weird selfies. Let's pick this one. Yes. And now when you long hold on it and you get the markup option, and that's new in iOS 9, you simply select markup and you get to draw on top of that image right in the email application. Let's just say that's me, if in case it's not obvious. And you can send the attachment just like this. And this is particularly useful with maps where you can draw directions, or if you want to annotate some other files, maybe not so much for selfies, but that's just a quick demo of the markup on iOS 9. And now here's another neat trick in iOS 9. Rather than swiping like this to go back in the album, when you look in photos, you can just swipe down to go back. Swipe down and go back. And you can now also zoom in on a video while it's recording or while it's playing. So let's quickly tap here, start the recording of a video, and you can simply zoom in. Let's pause the video, and you can see that when we're playing it back, you can do the same gesture, pinch to zoom in and zoom out right as the video is playing. And when it comes to photos tricks, you can now select images by just swiping your finger, but it happens in a bit of a weird fashion. So just have to select one image first and then simply swipe to select multiple images easily. And that's a neat way to organize your files, delete some, or whatever you want to do with them. Switching over to the Maps application, you have a neat feature that's called Quick Suggestions, and it will simply give you, let's clear this and search for a place. Let's say Scottsdale, Phoenix, Arizona. So we just search for this place and it will load it. And as it does, you can tap again on the search bar and get all the food recommendations, bakeries, coffee shops. You can also get drinks, shopping, travel. Let's see what's nearby when it comes to shopping centers. That will take a little bit of time for all the shopping centers to load. Let's patiently wait for it. Here you go. You can see all the shopping centers near the Mesa area, Phoenix, Arizona. And finally, you probably already know that the iOS 9 operating system ships with a new font called San Francisco that we first saw on the Apple Watch, and Apple claims it's more readable, and we kind of agree. But the thing is that you cannot change it, especially in the system settings. But when it comes to the browser and reading experience, you actually can. So let's open this web page about the phone that does not look like the iPhone, or maybe just a little bit, and tap the reader mode. Now you get into the reader mode and you can neatly customize it by pressing on the letters right here. And as you can see, the default font is San Francisco, but you can in fact change to Times New Roman, Saravec, and many others for a more comfortable reading experience. Now these are our quick tips to iOS 9, some hidden features that you might enjoy. Let us know which one is your favorite. Let us know how do you like iOS 9 so far. And as always, thanks for watching.